Brazil started mandatory blending of ethanol in 1976.
Hmm.
When I met you in 1992, you mentioned passingly that similar move by India can benefit the industry, the farmers, and also the government. Finally, it happened in 2010. Your annual reports have been mentioning this point for some time. Can I assume that your foresight and persistent engagement with the government worked?
So you see, I am part of a team. Let's say ISMA is a body, it has presidents. Yes, I've been fortunate enough to engage with the government because of my, proximity to many of them on a professional basis. So it's the moment you get a little goodwill, people listen to you easy. So if you got goodwill from the farmer, you got goodwill of UP government, then you got goodwill of the institutions, you paid them on time, that give you goodwill in the investors. You paid the suppliers on time, you got goodwill of the suppliers. So in India, it doesn't take much to get goodwill is what I'm seeing. You just do your small things correctly, you get enough goodwill here. Yeah. You tell the truth that this is a bad year, investors happy with you.
Yes.
So correct. Basically, because of the goodwill, the engagement with the government became easier. So because you went and told them the truth also. Straight up that, see, this is the cash loss, this is the figure work. If you want this industry to survive, this is your vehicle to rural prosperity. You're looking at spending so many millions of and billions of rupees for rural prosperity. This is rural prosperity. So if I remember, when we bought Babnan, you would not get bread in the morning to eat around there. So car used to go to Lucknow get bread from my mother.
Okay.
Now, within a year, the property prices in and around that area after the unit became a success, there's so many things which came up. Property prices went up 10 times.
Okay.
And you could get everything in 2 years' time. There are people making tractor, there are people selling vegetables, everything. So, industrialization is a vehicle to rural prosperity. Though when that theme was understood by the government, and they said that energy is being wasted, both by way of bagasse and molasses. So basically, sugar is an energy crop if we see it.
Yes.
Physically, you have sugar, you get energy.
Correct.
Bagasse into power is energy. And molasses into ethanol is energy. So it's not an agri crop, it's an energy crop. So every drop of energy converted into its final product led to rural prosperity. Correct policies led to industry being able to pay a higher cane price. So we became a vehicle from the consumer to the farmer. And in the middle, touched all the lives of the common people by supplying electricity, supplying petrol, and supplying sugar.
Yeah.
So this synergy was well understood by the government.
Yeah.
And I think that's what led them to believe that cane being the hardiest crop, it does not destroy. There is agri distress. So at least let's engage with this industry to ensure that all concerned are in good shape.
Yeah. For the benefit of viewers, will it be possible for you to explain the ethanol blending policy? It's a big story, but you can keep it as brief as possible.
Okay, so very simply put, when we crush sugar, cane, you make sugar, you make something called bagasse, which is the powdered crushed cane, and there's something that comes out which is called molasses. Yeah. Now, molasses is a necessary byproduct which will come out the moment you have a sugar factory. Yes. If you have a distillery, molasses is distilled. It gets distilled column-wise and dehydrated out of water. And then what you get is alcohol. The first stage of alcohol is something called rectified spirit.
Yes.
That is used by medicines and, it's used in other pharmaceuticals. It's used in many things. In spirit, hand sanitizer, you've seen. It has a lot of medical application plus portable application.
Yes. Yes.
So then you go to something called ENA. It's called extra neutral alcohol. That's a better version of the rectified spirit.
Okay.
That is used, that's bought by all these liquor companies, and it is used into making portable alcohol.
Okay.
Then when you dehydrate it more and refine it more, it becomes something called ethanol. Ethanol is nothing but rectified spirit, which is 96% purity. Ethanol is 99.8% purity. This ethanol, which is made at the factory, is physically blended with the petrol. So an ethanol tanker goes from our factory, it goes to the petrol depot, it's physically mixed into the petrol tank.
Okay.
It just blends into its own. So
Okay.
if there are 9 liters of petrol, 1 liter is mixed of ethanol. And what you get in your car, you don't even know. It is petrol.
Okay.
So at times, if stations have less, they mix 5, somebody mixes 4, somebody mixes 10.
Okay.
So this is the ethanol program. Now, government, should I continue on the government buying now or just the
Yes.
process?
That is the policy. What is the ethanol mandatory blending policy?
So now the policy. Now what government said, earlier it used to be, people used to say you have to supply to the chemical industry, where will alcohol industry get its raw material from, what will happen to government excise, and all kind of players created all kinds of confusion. The true policy has come in in 2014, when Modi government came in. That's when we engaged deeply with them, and we said that this is an state program globally. If you have to import, you lose foreign exchange. If you have to make the sugar sector viable, let's say you have to give some subsidy, you have to give out cash. The moment you give us a right ethanol price, our net position improves, our cash flow improves. You please factor this into our credit side of the P&L. So you factor in sugar sale price, ethanol sale price, power price on the credit side. You kindly tell me what cane price we have to pay, factor in that as cost, see my conversion cost. Just try and align the two so that survival is done. Therefore, when there is no loss, farmer will be paid on time, is the assumption, because raw material is a part of your cost. That's when this program began genuinely. They delinked it from crude for all effect. You can see it. Right now, this next tender also came out a few days back. By the time crude had gone to 30, not 0. No. But it had gone to 20, sorry.
Yeah. 20.
So they said that oil marketing companies can mix ethanol and they can price ethanol at the percentage they are mixing.
Okay.
So let's say crude is costing you 50 at some point of time, this costing you 20. Or the reverse. So your blended cost is 50 into 9 and 20 into 10.
Okay.
Blend the two, price the petrol accordingly to the public.
Okay.
So if crude is higher than ethanol, there is benefit to the public. Let's say if crude is lower than ethanol, there is some extra 20-50 paisa public pays or public benefits.
Yeah.
Now that's passed on to millions of people via daily consumption of petrol, which we all fill on our cars.
Yeah.
So this policy is now a cost of production kind of method.
Okay.
Where government of India does export pricing, they give you export subsidy, they price your ethanol. Recently, they have something called BAV, I will explain.
Yeah.
And they price your power. So they see you as a overall balance sheet in their minds.
Okay.
And their primary objective is you should be able to pay your UP mandated cane price on time.
Okay.
Or their FRP on time, let's put it from central government.
Okay. 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 So basically, this ethanol blending is currently done at 10%, is it not?
Yeah, but it does not happen in all the states. There are some faraway states. So national average right now is only 5.
Right.
Some problem is at the industry side because there's not enough distillation capacity people have built. And there is some problem in some faraway states. But I see this improving gradually.
Okay. Okay. And also the policy for B heavy and C heavy also has been modified, right? That you don't have to actually make sugar, and while making sugar you make molasses and then convert. Instead, you can directly go from sugarcane crushing juice to ethanol. That policy liberalization also has happened in 2009, right?
Yeah, last year. So what this means, if I will explain to viewers, B heavy is nothing but molasses loaded with sugar. So it, in effect, is the sugar being converted into ethanol. Now, government has given a different price for that, a 10 rupee higher price than from the normal molasses. Well, molasses is merely a byproduct.
Yeah.
This you're sacrificing sugar. So you should get your sugar cost. They've recognized that and put your B heavy price. So if that was not done, government would have asked us to export more. If you were asked to export more, the export subsidy burden on the government went up. Here it was put into the petrol form.
Okay.
So there was no cash outgo from the government.
Correct. And also, now the industry is able to adjust itself. If the sugar price is low, you make more B heavy, and if the sugar price is a little higher, you can cut down on your B heavy and go to make sugar.
Yeah, there is limited flexibility today, but yes, there is flexibility.
Yes. So, which is what you have been pitching for a very long time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. And basically, with all this going forward, it looks like the company will be called Balrampur Green Limited or something similar, with the revenue from ethanol and cogen power overtaking sugar.
No, the revenue won't, but yes, there's a lot of profit which can come from them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and based on this, the industry is achieving its stability financial
Absolutely.
only because of this atmosphere and the policy framework.
Yeah, so there have been some other policy frameworks which I'd like to say. The government even went to mandate a minimum price. 31 rupees, you can't sell below that.
Okay.
Now, why did they do that? And they said you can sell limited sugar in the market. He said sugar is not your product to lose money, sell down because there's extra production. I am taking care of it. Please export your surplus. Please hold your sugar. I have made a buffer stock, which means you hold this much sugar on my account. I am reimbursing you interest cost. And you sell gradually into the market. Why? Because you have a big responsibility I'm casting on you.
Okay.
It's a national responsibility kind of thing.
Okay.
You have to pay the farmer at this price within this period of time.
Yes.
So based on that, this policy was devised. There has been a lot of synergy thinking and support on this.
Okay.
There's been a lot of synergy thinking. So the government has gone the full circle to understand this business.
Correct. Correct.
And it has held our hand.
Yeah. And it has also given a very strong, stable foundation for the industry to grow from this level. This has never happened in the past 60, 70 years. The industry has been cyclical.
Yes.
Because
So,
you pay the cane grower, he doesn't plant cane. That vicious cycle is now broken.
Because you are making companies like us, because of our efficiency and debt cost and overall savings, can make money. Basically, why was the cycle there, sir? Understand, in surplus, you lost money heavily.
Yes.
You had big dues for years.
Yeah.
And that led to the farmer shifting his crop. Now, in surplus, with such a policy, you don't lose money.
Yeah.
Correct. They protected your selling price, they've enhanced your byproduct price, and they've also kept a very high cane price, decently high cane price.
Correct.
So all the stakeholders have been looked after. Consumers getting a reasonable price. Industry, we are making money. Average industry is breaking even. Others are also making money, but I'm saying UP good mills are making money. Others are breaking even. And the farmer is getting paid.
That's very important. So the cycle is not going to be vicious anymore.
That's how I see it. Until there is some weather truancy, which we can't predict.
That is true. That is true.
Outside of that, I don't see production going down.